Hello, my fellow humans, and welcome back to Scatter Love Tarot with your girl coming at you with another pick a card reading. Today we are doing urgent messages from your shadow self. I do want to say thank you to anyone and everyone that continues to be a supportive part of this journey, this channel, this ever-growing tribe. I'm truly honored to be sharing this time and this space with you. And for those of you new here, welcome. This is that reminder that we're all here sharing this human experience and that this is a safe space to show up as your highest, most aligned, loving, authentic self. Should these messages happen to resonate, it would mean so much to me if you're to like, comment, and subscribe down below. And as always, if you're interested in supporting the channel further, you'll find all those links in the description box in order to do so. You can email me for a personal reading. You can follow me on over to my podcast at Spotify at Scatter Love Radio. You can even join as a member, and I would love to see you on memberships, but if not, thank you for your continued support here. With that, let's go ahead and hop to it and get to our prayer. Today's not going to be a super long, it's actually going to be pretty brief. We're just going to get that one intense message from your shadow self to work through or to work towards or to understand, okay? And my camera keeps moving around here. Let me bring it closer. All right, my beloved source, this prayer is for any and all who come onto this reading, whether it's for a moment's time or for the entire time. I ask that you give us the clarity necessary for us to move forward on our journey, for us to embrace the shadow side of ourselves and to know that this is not something that's separate from us, but it is a part of us. I ask that you open our eyes to the truth that is within and for us to hear the messages that are meant for our soul at any one given time. I ask, Source, that you deliver these messages in a way that is kind, but also very clear and direct into what is needed at this time. And as this is spoken onto this reading and over my collective, so shall it be. Amen. Aho. Ase. Thank you, thank you, thank you, my beloved source. Thank you. Let me go ahead and set that up over here. I am going to pause this for just a second. For some reason, the camera keeps lifting up, and it's not that I mind you seeing the background there, but it needs to be down further, and so I'm not sure what's going on because it literally keeps lifting up, which is kind of funny. So I'll be right back. Okay, that should work. We went through the shake test and everything. It doesn't seem to have moved too much, but I also feel like that's symbolic because I feel like these messages are meant to lift you up, right? Because it kept moving up. The camera kept moving up like that. So today we are going to use the gods, goddesses, and guardians deck to get this message. I've already pre-shuffled, so let's go ahead and get into it. So source for pile number 1. What goddess, gods, and guardians oracle card will help us better understand the urgent message from pile number 1, shadow self? What oracle card will help us better understand the urgent message? Wow, that's a lot. They want this one, though. I'll take that one. Thank you, source. All right, and for pile number 2, source, what gods, goddess, and guardians oracle card is going to help us better understand, thank you, the message for pile number 2. All right, and for pile number 3, source, what oracle card will help us better understand pile number 3's urgent shadow self message? What oracle card will help us better understand the urgent message from pile number 3, shadow self? Thank you. All right, on the bottom of the deck, what do we got as a collective message? Sedna, there is always enough. So you do feel like there's this fear coming out of feeling like an oversaturation in the market or whatever it is that you would like to have in your life or what it is that you're doing. But this is a message from your shadow self as well as source saying there is always enough to go around, right? Just like love, you never run out of love. You can always make more. And that's exactly what the abundance of the universe is. So for pile number 1, this is Choose Your Jasper. We've got this beautiful piece of zebra jasper for you. I'll turn on my overhead, see if that's a little better. Okay. For pile number 2, we have this beautiful yellow jasper for you to choose from. And for pile number 3, we have this beautiful piece of red jasper for you to choose from. Okay, so we have pile 1, pile 2, and pile 3. Whichever one you're drawn to, that should be for you. And with that being said, I will see you over on your chosen pile. Hello, my fellow human. If you were drawn to this beautiful piece of zebra jasper, or if you were drawn to this card during the shuffle, then this is going to be your urgent message from your shadow self. First, I do want to say thank you to anyone and everyone that continues to be a supportive part of this journey, this channel, this ever-growing tribe. I'm truly honored to be sharing this time and space with you. And if you happen to be new here, welcome. This is a reminder that we're all here sharing this human experience, and we're allowed to show up as that, as human, right? So with that being said, we're going to go ahead and hop to it and get into our messages and find out what is this urgent shadow self message coming through. So shadow self of pile number 1, what is your urgent message for them? What would you like to come through? What is the message they need to know at this time? What is the shadow self message for pile number 1? What is the urgent message coming through? Okay, so we've got the second house, Leo, and Mercury energy. Okay. I heard, when I saw this combination, I heard facing our inner child. It's like a part of yourself that you've disconnected from as your inner child, and letting it kind of just stay buried, right? Like, oh, you can't enjoy things because it's too childish. You can't have an imagination because we're adults now. We're not allowed to have imagination. We're not allowed to experience life with joy and pleasure. I always have to be so serious. And this is something that's extremely stubborn that's coming through. And the shadow self is saying it's time for you to be completely honest. Why is this how you feel? Like, why do you feel like you can't connect with this internal part of yourself? Why do you feel like you can't open up to play and pleasure? Why do you feel like there always has to be drama or seriousness going on in life, right? And drama not necessarily that you're causing. No, we're not talking about that. We're talking about like having to be surrounded by drama, like everybody's so dramatic, or there's always something going on. If it's not one thing, it's another. This belief, like, what does this truly stem from, and how can you be brutally honest with yourself and saying where that comes from and why it is that that's affecting you so much, and why it is that you feel the way that you feel, and honoring that, right? When we honor that part of ourselves, we allow ourselves to heal deeply. And when we're healed deeply from those beliefs that have been holding us back, we put ourselves in a position where we can easily let go of those ideas and identities that have led us so far, right? And it's just not serving you anymore. We do see that this does tie to partially your happiness, partially your self-expression, as well as partially your ability to create stability and abundance in this realm, especially with the second house coming out. We also see that this is playing a huge part on your self-worth. It's like you may feel really good for a while, but then all of a sudden something happens and you feel completely drained, like you have to start over, like nothing's going your way. And so your urgent shadow self message here is referring to how can you be blatantly honest and brutally honest with yourself as to why it is that you feel you cannot connect with the inner child, right? What is it that's blocking you from doing that? And where does that self-belief come from? Is that really yours, or is it something that was conditioned on you at some point in time? Is it someone else made you believe this? Like maybe you were a child with a very active imagination and someone said, no, you're too old now. You got to let the imagination go. You can't be like that. Like, what does that really stem from? And And knowing that you're the only one that's going to see it, right? I feel like that's something to remind people whenever we do any type of shadow work or whenever we're dealing with that shadow side of ourselves. We have to be so honest and know that there's not someone just peeking over our shoulder reading what it is that we're writing or observing us at this. It's just that fear that someone's actually going to hear us say, like, how we really feel. Like, oh, you know, it was my parents. They were people who are so unimaginative and life was always hard for them. And, you know, they're bitter and they're not kind and they don't have a nice bone in their body. And it's like, we're so afraid to say stuff like that, right? Or like, oh, my best friend, they were always creative and imaginative, but then they always criticized me and they told me that I was stupid and they told me that I did this, or it was my brother, my sister, or my grandparents, or my auntie and uncle. Like, we're so afraid to be so honest with ourselves and even about ourselves. You know, like my whole life, I've always criticized my creative bone, and, you know, it's like, why even have it if you know, it just makes me feel like this, right? And being honest about it, that's really what your shadow self is saying here. Well, let's get some cards out and find out what else would like to come through. So what is the urgent shadow self message for pile number 1? Thank you. Yeah, it's finding this courage to speak freely to yourself and being honest and having the difficult conversation with yourself. You know, if we can't have difficult conversations with ourselves, how are we ever going to have those difficult conversations with someone else? You know, we want other people to have those difficult conversations with us, but we're not willing to have them for ourselves. And oftentimes that puts us in a position when we're dealing with other people where we'll just shut down. We'll go into silent mode, we'll check out, we'll try to find some sort of distraction where we won't even be present for the conversation itself. And so that's why it's vital to be so honest with yourself, right? All right, so let's see what's coming out. Thank you. Yeah, we have temperance here on the bottom. It's like finding balance. How can you blend your shadow self with your light self, right? With the light attributes. This is about finding that perfect balance between the two and being able to know and understand and walk in the truth that you are whole even with your shadow self. It does not make you an incomplete being. It doesn't make you a broken person. It doesn't make you somebody that's not worthy of loving. Just because we're ashamed of those parts, it's because we've been conditioned to be ashamed of those parts of ourselves. You know, that's why partially I say, welcome, my fellow human. It's because so much of the time, so many people are putting this pressure on themselves to be perfect. And that is like the furthest thing from our reality as being a human, right? Having this human life. We're meant to make mistakes. We're meant to have those upsets in our life because that's how we learn. And that's just how we live life. Sometimes we make a decision that's not okay for us, and it actually turns out to lead us down a path where we've learned something valuable. Okay, with temperance here, we have healing comes from the ability to blend the opposites and to know that the darkness that resides within is equally valuable and needs as much love as the light self within us. Okay, and now we're not talking about letting it run rampant and control your life and be like all over the place, because it's already doing that, right? When we don't love it, those issues inside us, they grow and they become almost uncontrollable. Okay, and that's why it becomes something that is under the surface in the subconscious. We have the 5 of Cups in the reverse. We've got we've got the Wheel of Fortune, and we have the Star in the reverse. This is something that feels hopeless, right? Feels hopeless that you're ever going to have fortune. There's other people. Look, and it's interesting that the 5 of Cups came out in this position when I was saying to be honest with yourself means to say it without fear of people looking over your shoulder. And the 5 of Cups in the reverse in the Tarot Marseille really refers to gossip and nosiness, people getting involved in your business, and, you know, when they have no place getting involved in your business. And so for it to come out as the first card, that feeling is getting confirmed here as to what I was expressing. It's like there's a fear for you being completely open with yourself, because who's going to read it? It's like maybe someone's betrayed you in the past. Like if you had a journal, maybe someone's betrayed you by reading your journal. That was your private property. And so it's like, I stopped journaling because someone read my journal. You know, or like, why should I even bother? Because there's going to be someone who wants to know about that, or someone's going to find out about it. They're going to hear it from someone else, even though no one's there. And it's saying here that your fortune, your success with the Wheel of Fortune is actually going to come from dealing with this hopelessness face on. Right? Like, why do I feel so hopeless? Why do I feel like I can't be creative? Why do I feel like life is failing me? Why do I feel so much despair? And what's coming from that, and how do I heal that on a deeper level? We see a huge part of this here is because of maybe oversharing your story with others. You know, we're all guilty of that, and that's okay. That doesn't make something wrong with you or anything like that. It's just wanting to be heard and understood by others. But your shadow self is being very clear here. This feeling that others are poking and prying into your life comes from this want of being understood and heard. And the healing comes from understanding what this stems from, right? And it's interesting because you see the little bird here on the tree is overlooking her. And that's exactly that feeling. It's like someone's watching you. It's like, who's watching me? Who's always got their eye on me? It's like, I feel at times, pile number one, that you're in this energy of wondering who's spying on me, who's got their eye on me, who wants to know what I'm up to, who's getting tarot readings on me. You may fall victim to those types of readings and stuff, and that's okay. Right? But when we spend so much time focusing on people outside of us, we have to begin to ask ourselves, is this an escape from me actually looking at myself and healing what I need to heal within myself? It's putting the blame on everyone else. And it's not that there's anyone to blame in this situation. Because your shadow self is just saying here, we have this deep depression, despair, hopelessness, and feeling of disconnect coming out. And when we heal that, we're actually going to bring in a feeling of happiness and success. And the Wheel of Fortune is so powerful to be at the center of your reading here because it connects deeply with Jupiter, with Pisces, with Sagittarius energy, but also this connects with the sacral chakra energy as well for me. And this is about healing those deep emotions. And this is your right to feel. And so there's a feeling that's coming through here, and a sense on your reading that's saying, I don't have a right to feel the way that I feel. It's almost like embarrassment because you have anger, or embarrassment because you have resentment, or shame and guilt because you feel hurt and betrayed. And that's not at all what shadow work is. That's not at all what facing the shadow self is. It's understanding that all those feelings that you feel are very valid, and that you have to validate them, because when you go to other people to validate them, these people begin to look at your life like the next soap opera. Oh, well, what's going on with pile one this week? And that's where I was getting that drama energy from as well. So it's like you want to avoid that energy and rather come back to self and find that balance. Yeah, this is something that this could be a friend too. With the 10 of Wands, this could be a particular friend who knows everything that's going on in your life, and they only come back to find out the bad stuff, and they don't ever actually celebrate the good stuff with you. But it's someone that you've been around a lot. You both have gone through a lot. But it doesn't have to be a friend. This could be a coworker. It could be anybody. Just an attachment of some sorts here that all they care about is the drama that's going on in your life. What's the next thing? It's like they almost get a kick out of hearing the bad things, because it's like comparing my life to yours. Oh, well, I never had that happen to me, so I shouldn't have to feel bad about my life. But it's also draining your energy here. And so your shadow self wants you to take your energy away from focusing on outside energies, away from focusing on people outside of yourself, and drawing back into healing yourself. And why is it that I'm feeling this way? And where does this stem from? And how can I validate and see and understand my own emotional well-being in this? We have a lot of water. You have the 2 of Cups here, the 2 of Cups here. You've got the water energy here with the Jupiter. I'm sorry, with the Pisces connection to the Wheel of Fortune. You have Scorpio energy here. Okay, so it's like you could be Sagittarius. You could have Sag in the 10th house, Pisces in the 10th house, Aquarius in the 8th house, in the 7th house, in the 5th house. You could have Scorpio moon rising. You could have Scorpio in the 6th house is what I'm hearing. Those are just what's coming through right away. So again, if that's not in your natal chart, don't worry about it. This is still can be your message if it's resonating. But you see here, it's a lot of emotional upset. right? We're trying to redirect how we see our emotional well-being. And part of that is learning how to cope with our emotions and validate our emotions by ourselves and not looking for outside validation here with the 5 of Cups starting your reading. So let's get some further information here with the Oracle cards and see what comes through for you. For pile number 1, shadow self. What else would you like to tell pile number 1? What is this urgent message? And no one's mad at you. Even your shadow self, your light attribute, just know that no one's mad at you here. Okay, and don't be mad at yourself. Don't beat yourself up for this. This is a very natural thing that we as humans do, right? So you're just being human, and that's okay. Like we have house 3, early learning, childhood relations, the rational mind, and communication. So this could even be family coming in here, someone you've known for a really, really long time in your life. But we see here, it's the thought process behind it. It's like, it's so normal that whether it's right or wrong, it's just comfortable, right? And so we're trying to heal that comfortability, if you will, from that. We don't want it to be comfortable anymore. We want that to be uncomfortable because it's truly not serving the next steps of your journey. And so this is something you've learned early on. Maybe this is what you saw your mom do, your sister do, your grandma do. Definitely feels like the feminine energies in your life, this was something that they themselves did. They shared their emotions, gossip, they, we're nosy about your life and other people's lives. We have the father coming over, so this could have been your father as well. Maybe your father was a huge gossip, or the masculine energy in your life. That's not really a masculine thing, but masculines do fall into that energy, okay? We have talent for creating and supporting life, positive guiding light within a tribal unit. And then we have the shadow attributes as dictatorial control and abuse of authority. And again, you have these stars up here connecting with the star energy here. It's like you're gonna find light and hope and freedom when you begin to look back into the wounded child, when you begin to look back into the family situations that arose and where this is coming from. And that's all your shadow self is asking. It's like, it's time for us to explore why it is that we do this, and for us to understand and forgive ourselves and to let go of past situations and understand that this is something that's just not serving us moving forward. And that's okay. It served us for a time. It's just not something that we need moving forward now. We've outgrown it, right? We have the athlete here on the bottom with dedicated to transcending physical limits, including handicaps, development of personal willpower, and strength of spirit. Yes. And the shadow attributes are misuse of athletic ability for selfish ends, a false sense of invulnerability, and entitlement. Okay, so we're letting go of that. And also disconnecting from others who feel entitled to that information in our lives, right? Because no one is entitled to the information. If you don't want to give it out, then that's your right. You don't have to say it. To say it is just, that's you sharing something with someone, not because you have to, but because you choose to. And maybe reminding yourself of that as well. Right? Like you don't owe anybody an explanation for the things that you do, the things that you've experienced, or the situations going on in your life right now. There's no explanation needed, right? But sometimes we forget that, and we'll be like so busy trying to explain ourselves that, we get stuck in that loop of gossip and nosiness. So we have the lilac fire dragon coming out here with transmutes through the power of divine love. Open up to transcendent love and enlightenment. Purity of heart brings peace, hope, and joy. Right? So we're trying to cleanse you here. Your shadow self's urgent message is trying to cleanse you from the heaviness. And I feel like this is something that continues to put you into a recurring situation. Like it's something that keeps arising for you. I'm wondering, why do I feel so zapped? Why is my energy so low? Why am I going through so many hardships here? And then it's because you've been giving this energy to this person who doesn't have your best interests in heart. And whether that's right or wrong, it really ultimately doesn't matter. The only thing that matters in situations like this is that you take back your power. That's the only thing that matters. That's the only place that you should focus on. But sometimes we get so caught up on trying to blame other people for the hardships in our life, which is something that's extremely human, that we forget to take care of ourselves, and we forget that we have so much power and internal strength to heal ourselves. So we have sleep or stumble. Without sufficient rest, you might either falter or you might falter at the next critical juncture. Choose sleep and sidestep regret. And I feel like this is just saying find peace. Don't live in this state of regret, of resentment, of anger, of holding a grudge. Sidestep that, right? Let yourself be at peace. So we did have new beginnings flip over here. We have behind every closed door, a new beginning awaits. Seek new exits. Yeah, it's time for you to bust this joint, right? Bust out of here. It's time for me to go. All right, and let's get some shadow energy as well, since this is a shadow self reading. What is the shadow energy that's present here? Can you give us a little bit more into this shadow self for pile number 1? What else would you like to say here? Okay, thank you. And I know they're shadow love cards, but they're perfect for what the shadow side is. We have late bloomer, age gap or immature, attitude out of sync, needs more time. Okay, so there's someone here who's acting immaturely, and your shadow self actually like feeds off of that. The emotional ego of you feeds off of that, and it's like, oh, well, that person's acting immature, so maybe you're the one that's had to step up into this parental role many times, and that's given this person access, or these people access to your life, of it's okay for me to be nosy because they're just trying to be the parent. So this is really truly about your shadow self asking you to come back to your heart center, to come back to your sacral chakra, and remember that it's okay that you feel the way that you feel. Okay, we have house 2 coming out again. Physical security, possessions, material values, and self-worth. So not only is this affecting your self-worth, this is affecting your physical security and your ability to manifest wealth into your life. Okay, and so once you heal this, you're going to begin to feel secure within, and that security is going to translate into physical manifestations. We have, look, we've got Saturn. The black dragon from Saturn brings you wisdom through spiritual discipline. Concentrate. Focus on your ultimate vision. Congratulate yourself. You have passed a test. And I love that. So you're at the end part of this situation. And Saturn is a planet of tough love. And so it always brings us understanding through difficult situations. And I feel like that's exactly what this is. It's just understanding how you show up when situations like this arise. 22:02 on the clock. And it's about freeing yourself from that. We have the temptation of light. When drawn powerfully to something that seems bright, carefully determine if it truly benefits you. Choose wisely. It was so weird because when I turned this over, I heard a moth to the flame. And it's like the brighter you shine, the more you're going to draw people into you, whether they're high vibrational or low vibrational. That's just a part of our journey as we continue to shine brightly. And that's why it's so imperative for you to really practice the gift of discernment. Remember that sometimes there are going to be people who are so tempted by you that they're going to manipulate or try to manipulate you. They're going to try to love bomb you, and they're going to try and get everything that they can to get access to your energy. But the more that you heal this, the stronger and more powerful you're going to be, and you're going to be able to stand in this place of inner standing that I don't have to let that in, right? No matter what this person says, I don't have to let that in. Yeah, we have mirror. Reflects your own issues. Like attracts like. So here's the main issue here is these people who are draining on you, it's mirroring something within you that's not in alignment, and that's what your shadow self is asking you to come into alignment with. It's like, why is it that, some part of me wants this drama? And it's like, you don't consciously, and I'm not saying like you consciously want the drama, right? It's something that's hidden within us that says, this is all I know. The drama is acceptable because it's comfortable. It's all I grew up in. It's something that's been impressed upon me for years and years and years. So it's like, what part of you feels like it's okay to invite that in? Or what part of you is hidden so that you can go in and look and then understand why these emotional vampires are coming into your life, why these people are coming in that don't have your best interest at heart. This is really about looking at your own internal security and knowing that you are worthy of good things. Let's take a look at your Goddess, Gods, and Guardian card. Look, I cannot with you. We have the Sexual Wisdom card with Kadesh, and that is all about healing the sacral chakra. I love this. The synchronicities of your reading already are next level. So let me get that and see what she says here. Oops, I just saw it. One more. There we go. Embrace intimacy. Celebrate your sexuality. Okay, so again, pointing that this could be a lover that's doing this. Oh my gosh, the book just slammed shut on me. Okay. It says Kadesh is an ancient Egyptian goddess of sacred ecstasy. Her origins are in the Canaanite religions of the ancient Levant. In Middle East, her name was Kadshu, which means Holy One. It is said that in Levant, the culture of Kadesh involved recreating the rite of sacred marriage. Priestesses called Kadashah, holy or pure ones, may have been sacred prostitutes, women who offer sex as a sacrament or sacred feminine healing act. In Egypt, she rode naked on the back of a lion, holding a snake, a lotus flower, and a papyrus plant. Kadesh possessed great knowledge of sexuality as an expression of the divine. This card signifies a time of sexual healing and new experiences of intimacy, and that makes so much sense. Kadesh can activate your intuitive wisdom about sex as a sacred, nourishing force. She says the easiest way to access your sexual spirit knowledge is to tune into your body. Be still. Become aware of your breath. If you can, place one hand on your heart area and the other on your belly, or simply focus on the sensations of your body. Imagine your sexual energy as a spark of light flowing through you, and ask yourself, what does my sexual wisdom want me to know? Listen to the first feeling or impression that arises. If nothing comes, don't worry. You're tuning into your higher sexual consciousness, whether you know it or not. The insight may come hours, days, or weeks later. Maybe you want to be more sexually expressive or creative, or do you need permission to experiment with being polyamorous or celibate, for example? It could be that sexual blocks or trauma are coming up for healing. I'll lead you to the right support. Offer up all your desires and wishes about the sacred erotic to me, and let me bring you all the sensual pleasures you deserve. So this could be about communicating your sexual needs to your partner, working with a sex therapist or relationship counselor, or exploring sacred ecstasy rituals and how sex connects to the divine. The invocation is, my sexuality is natural. I am worthy of ecstatic pleasures. Yeah, so this is all about healing your sacral chakra. And it's been very clear, like the whole reading, it's been talking about your sacral chakra, and it's about lighting it on fire here. Even though it's a watery element, it is something about being able to connect with that deep wisdom that it's offering you here. Okay, so this is what your shadow self's urgent message is for you. There's just some deep healing coming in. If you feel like this is your reading, leave a little lion emoji down below and say, I open up to the wisdom of my sacral chakra, knowing that it is taking me higher and allowing me to connect deeply with my shadow self. Okay, and if it resonated, it would mean so much to me if you're to like, comment, and subscribe below. If you are interested in supporting the channel you will find all those links below in the description box in order to do so. You can email me for personal reading. You can follow me on over to my podcast on Spotify at Scatter Love Radio. You can even join as a member. I would love to see you on memberships, but if not, thank you so much for your continued support here. I am going to go ahead and leave this here, but I do want to take a quick second to give a shout out to your shadow self, your spirit guide, your messengers, your angel source, and my spirit guides for coming together to give us this message. And until next time, pile number 1, stay human. Bye. Hello, my fellow human. If you were drawn to this beautiful yellow jasper, or if you were drawn to this card here during the shuffle, then this is going to be your urgent message from your shadow self. If you are a returning subscriber, I just want to say thank you so much as you continue this journey with me and are a part of this ever-growing tribe. I'm truly honored to be sharing this time and space with you. And if you're new here, welcome. This is a reminder that we're all human here, right? We're meant to have a human life. We're here as a spirit experiencing this human existence, and that's okay. It's okay to show up as human. All right, so let's go ahead and hop to it and find out what are the messages from your shadow self today. So for pile number 2, source, what are the urgent shadow self messages for pile number 2? What would you like them to know today? Source, what are the urgent messages for pile number 2, the shadow self? Shadow self of pile number 2, what urgent messages do you have for pile number 2? Okay, so we've got the first house, the sun, and Aquarius energy. Fearing being yourself. There's still a mask that you're putting on when you go outside because there's like this anxiety of, if I show who I am behind closed doors to people out in public, they're not going to like me. They're going to disown me. People are going to make fun of me. They're going to point and laugh at me. And your shadow self doesn't want you to be afraid of who you are behind closed doors. You just feel like there's a part of yourself that you're deeply disconnected from here. And it has to do with the way that you present yourself out in public. You know, when we have the sun in the first house coming out, this is how we show ourselves to the world, right? The position that we take. And there's something here that's really burning your insides is what this feels like. It's really just next level, taking you down this road of, it's like, I have to act a certain way out in public. Maybe this is about, I have to really focus on what I have to wear each day because I don't want people to make fun of what I wear, or I have to put my makeup on a certain way, or I have to do my hair a certain way, or I have to wear a certain type of ball cap, or I have to wear a certain type of shoes. It's like very much with your outwardly appearance, which is overall affecting your true identity because there's this focus of being so connected into what other people are thinking of you rather than focusing on how you think of you, right? It's like almost feeling like I have to get this validation from others to be accepted, because if they don't validate me, then I'm not accepted. And if I'm not accepted, then I must be exiled, or I must be weird, or I must be stupid, or I must be like disgusting or something like that. And your shadow self is coming through saying, like, you're meant to be unique in all areas of your life, and they don't want you to fear you being yourself, because you fearing yourself is the only thing that's keeping you from connecting with your true tribe, right? Your vibe attracts your tribe, but if you can't be true to your own vibe, and if you're trying to hide one part of yourself, you're still hiding from your tribe, and your tribe can't find you that way, right? Because your tribe is attracted to your vibe, and your vibe has to be authentic. And there's nothing wrong with you, pile 2. That's not what your shadow self is saying. There's absolutely nothing wrong with you. This is something that has been ongoing for a long time, right? And when we talk about the shadow self, it is more often than not, our emotional ego has distorted our reality to believe something that someone else told us was reality, and it's not. It's an illusion, right? It's like that. Like, you have to be prim and proper, otherwise you're never going to find someone to love. Really, that's actually a huge illusion in life, because you see people who are very true to themselves and they find love. They're not prim and proper. They're not, whatever, right wing, left wing. Like you see people with different backgrounds getting together and finding love because they're choosing to be true to themselves. They're choosing to be authentic. But here we see your shadow self is coming in, pleading with you to honor and own that part of yourself that you only let out behind closed doors. You know, it's like the you when it's like you walk in behind, when you walk in to the door, it's like all your clothes come off and you go put on some sweatpants and you go put on some lazy shoes and stuff. And you're like, yeah, but that's at home. Right, but that's the same type of mentality that you need to take with you out into public. I'm not saying to dress like a bum. That's not what your shadow self is saying either, but stop putting so much emphasis on having to appear a certain way out in public just to be socially accepted. That is putting a damper on the unique part of yourself. And you might find that the more that you heal and connect with this, you actually have a very unique taste. Maybe you like very bright colored clothes and you haven't even been buying those bright colored clothes because you're afraid people are going to judge you. Or maybe you were harshly judged by that as a child, right? Or you like really dark colored clothes and it's like you buy like neutral tones because you don't want people to think that you're gothic when you're really not. You just really like black, or you really like navy blue or something like that, right? But this is saying like, don't worry about what other people are going to think about how you're showing up. It does not matter. It doesn't. People are going to think the way that they're going to think. People are going to do what they're going to do. One second. My neighbor came over to my window, and I have to tell you guys, he's really tall, right? He's super tall. He's like over 6'5". He's really tall, but he goes, "Hey, look at what I found. I want to give this to you." And I love my neighbors. They're so sweet. But he gave me a piece of pyrite that he found. It's got pyrite. I don't know. It's too close. Let me move this out of the way. It's got pyrite in it, right? And I love that he brought this at the time that I was talking to you about how you are being seen with others, right? Because not everything that glitters is gold. And that's exactly what this message is from your shadow self, is that not everything that glitters out there is gold. It's like the people that you're afraid of judging you, they really don't have room to judge you. They don't have space to say, oh, you have to wear a certain thing or you have to be a certain way. And especially with this Aquarius energy coming up here, we see that you actually have something very unique to express about yourself and the way that you portray yourself out into reality when you're not wearing the mask or feeling like you have to disassociate from this part of yourself. Okay, so let's get some tarot on it and find out what else would your shadow self like to say with this urgent message. It just feels like this is really wearing on you emotionally and physically. Like you're getting bored with your outfits, you're getting bored with the way that you're having to show up. And I already hear people like, well, I have to dress a certain way for work. And I get it. If you have to wear like a uniform at work, like I understand that. But this is saying like it's even going beyond that. It's saying that when you're not at work, you're still dressing this certain way to not express yourself. And it's like, or you're trying too much to fit in to this identity or this belief that you have to present yourself as this proper person. And that's not at all what your shadow self wants. It's like your shadow self has been believing that for too long. Right? And the shadow self wants you to face this part of itself. That's how we heal the emotional ego. Right? The ego's been running rampant in our lives for so long. And there's nothing wrong. Like when you do that, this is something that is entirely human. Right? This is something about ourselves that is entirely normal. It's natural for all of us to do it. But it's actually the most unnatural thing that we can do for ourselves. Okay, that's way too many cards here. I'm going to put these back in the deck. All right. One more here. What's the shadow self message? The urgent message for pile number 2. Okay. Yeah, there's a fear of starting over here. If I start over, people are going to wonder, like, if I start changing things now, they're going to be wondering what's going on. It's interesting. Temperance came out when all those cards flipped over, and it's coming out again on the bottom of the deck. And this came out on the bottom of the deck in the upright for pile number 1, 2. So we do have this healing. And I think Temperance is definitely going to be making an appearance today because Temperance talks about the blending of the shadow and the light attributes together. Right? And again, I feel like I need to put this out on your reading. Not everything that glitters is gold, right? It's fool's gold. It's pyrite. And so it's not everything that glitters is gold. So it's like maybe you're trying to get high brand clothing or something like that, or you're trying to wear a certain type of clothing because that's what seems to be acceptable by others. And here we have the Temperance coming out. Like, it's when you can blend the light and dark aspect of yourself, when you can blend the shadow with the light attributes, you find peace and harmony here. But we do see with the Five of Wands in the reverse that this is like, I'm refusing to change this. With the Two of Swords on the bottom in the reverse, we see that you've outgrown this. This is something that you've outgrown, right? This patterning is something that you've greatly outgrown. And the shadow self is saying, when you heal this, you're going to feel a lot better. There's going to be a lot of healing that's going on in your life. There's going to be a lot of balancing going on in your life. And you're going to feel more stable, but it is something that's uncomfortable to face, because if you've dressed a certain way for so long, or if you've made yourself look a certain way for so long, like they keep showing me makeup. So maybe you've worn makeup like every day of your adult life, but you're just getting tired of wearing it. But because you've wore it, you don't feel comfortable without it, but you don't want to wear it anymore. And it's like, but I look so weird without it, right? And that's what they're saying. Like, how can you put yourself in a position where you begin to see yourself as you are without it? Not how you look weird without it, but that you're still beautiful without it, right? Makeup doesn't make you beautiful. You're beautiful no matter what you have on. But there's like something here, it's like, I don't want to start over. Like, what if I stop wearing makeup and I go into work and everybody's like, whoa, you look so different, or you look weird. What's going on? You look so tired. That was the first thing that I got when I stopped wearing makeup. You look so tired. Isn't that weird? And I think it's because makeup does that to us. It's so much strain on our face, on our skin, on our eyes. We're constantly messing around with it every day. We're not just letting it be. But then a couple of weeks went by and then I felt like I looked normal again, you know, and it just takes time. And so that's this thing that they're showing here. It's like they're just showing something like that. Like, you have to give it time, because it's going to feel weird at first, but your shadow self is bringing this up with appearance, but there's this fear of starting over. Like, I don't want to do that. But there's a need to transform this here. Yeah. Okay, so this is making more sense. It's like leaving the negativity behind. And that's what I feel like with what I was getting with the dice, is this is a thought process here. This is a very negative thought process. It's like a belief that if I change this about myself, or if I do this with myself, that other people, right? And the Five of Swords talks about negativity from other people, outside situations that are affecting our internal well-being. And so with it in the upright, we see that you have this opportunity to leave that, if you choose to transform and slash through the illusion that it's creating within you, which comes to this starting over. This is overall an incredibly positive message, but it's uncomfortable for you to think about changing this. And it's, even though it's, I feel like this is nothing new. What I'm telling you today in this message, it should be confirming your intuitive notions. This is something you've been intuitively feeling for a while. This is something you're like, wow, like I've just been so comfortable doing this for so long because it's just how it was. Or maybe it's like not getting dressed up. Maybe for a long time all you've worn is sweatpants, you know, with the way that the life has been going. It's like maybe all you've worn is sweatpants, and it's like you really don't like sweatpants, but it just becomes something that's so normal to you. And now it's just like when you go out, you just wear sweatpants, you don't care. And that's what it's saying. It's like just what really makes you feel good, not what makes you feel like you fit in. And I love that Aquarius is here, because Aquarian energy, they're the trendsetters of the zodiac. So they do not do what everyone else is doing. They're the ones who set those trends. And you have Aquarius energy right at the center of your reading with the Five of Swords here, again pointing towards being the center of focus here, is getting in touch with that unusual, quirky, goofy part of yourself. And that's where great transformation comes from, and growth, and letting go of and moving on. You know, the Nameless card, yes, it is transformation, but at its base, at its core, and if you simplify the meaning of it, it truly is leaving behind what no longer serves us. Right? And so with the Nameless card starting this, we see it's like walking away from something that's making you feel tired, exhausted, overworked, not worthy, not feeling good about yourself, but blending in the shadow and saying like, hey, this is a part of me. Sometimes I get lazy, or sometimes I don't get lazy enough. right? Like, so it could go either way. So own it where you're at, right? And this is not that excuse to be like, oh, well, my tarot reader said I could be lazy all the time. No, no, no. Don't get it twisted now. Okay, don't get it twisted. This is just saying it's time for you to embrace that part of yourself that's unusual, right? And when you embrace that part of you that's unusual, then you'll be able to grow. But we see here death is the 13 card, so we have to find some balance, right? Some stability, some strength in our need to move forward. And then 5 is always an uncomfortable place of change. It means us outgrowing and moving on from something that is all we've known, the stability of something that we've known. And then we jump up to 9 here, which is showing us bringing something to a close, but it's difficult because I don't want to start over. I don't want to begin again. It almost makes you feel sick to your stomach if someone judges you or someone points you out in a crowd. It's like people who make fun of themselves so that other people won't make fun of them first. It's like, if I hurt myself first, then you can't hurt me and I'll be okay. Right? It's that same type of energy here. That's the type of dynamic that we see in this reading. So it's like you doing this to yourself or for yourself so that other people won't hurt you first. And it's saying here, it's like it's time for you to let go of that belief. And where does that come from? What does that stem from? It's saying, why do I feel like I have to dress this way? Or why do I feel like I have to fit in this type of way? Where does that stem from? Does that come from, my mom, my dad, my grandparents? Does that come from society? Does that come from having to grow up in a school that we only wore uniforms? It can come from anywhere. Really start to unpack that so you can begin to heal this part of yourself and really connect with yourself in a deeper level. Let's see what else will come out for you here. And I feel like 99 is a very powerful number for you for some reason. You just, just what's showing me here. It's like you might see 99 a lot. For whatever reason. Maybe 999, but really the number they're showing me is 99. Like you might see 99 all the time. Maybe you were born in the year 99. Maybe you have a kid that was born in the year 99. Maybe the 99, from 99 to 2000, maybe that was a significant year for you to begin with. So it's just saying 99 is a very powerful number for you to unpack here. We have sextile, combination of tension and flow. We have potential in a rewarding situation. So the tension that's being caused by this, when you let go and you allow yourself to flow in your truth, there's going to be a lot of rewards that comes from this. You're going to feel a lot better about yourself as well. It's really interesting that we're going to put this on our physical attributes. It's not even your shadow self wanting you to face a part of yourself spiritually as much as it is your physical appearance. And not getting so caught up in that either. That's okay. That's, I feel like, one of the first things that we have to face on this journey. And it's oftentimes the thing that most people will just put on the back burner because it's the one that's so loud, if you will. All the other stuff seems easy compared to facing a part of yourself and how you're presented to society. Yeah, we have the rebel here. So we have changes authority to affect social change, rejects spiritual systems that do not serve inner needs, and the shadow is rejects legitimate authority out of anger and rebels out of peer pressure or fashion. I cannot right now. Yeah, so they're being very clear here. Your shadow self is coming in so strong. There's something about the way you dress. It's like whatever's fashionable. Maybe you try to stick up with the latest trends, or maybe you do, all those things that everybody else does. This is the latest and the greatest, keeping up with the Joneses. And they're saying this is just exhausting you and it's overwhelming you. We have Source Dragon, attunes you to the infinite. Be still in the silence. Magic can happen. Be in the moment. All right, so we're going to get some shadow aspects on this and see what the shadow side is from the shadow self. Okay, shadow self of pile number 2. What is the shadow aspect for the reading here? Okay, this one, you're going to get 2 of those because those 2 want to come out. And on the bottom, we have public image. Oh my gosh, I cannot. Worried about appearances. Can't relax. Conceited. What on earth? We got that with the bottom here. Rebels out of peer pressure or fashion. And I was talking about that. The Five of Swords talks about leaving that peer pressure, leaving that negativity that's caused by others. So I'm going to put these out because I feel like they need to be out. And then we have exposed. Fragile heart, too open, in danger of heartbreak. Yeah, and that's the thing. Like, I don't want to expose myself. This is a part of your mask. This is a part of the facade that we carry on that feels like it's keeping you safe, when in reality it's just disconnecting you from yourself even further. And that's okay, right? No one's over here being like, you're doing a terrible job. No, you're doing the best you can. This is very societal. Right? This is something that's been pressured on so many people for so long. This could even come from your culture, right? Like, whatever your cultural background is, this could be something that it's like, this is how our family's always dressed. We've always had to be this way, but I don't want to. I don't think it's comfortable. I don't like it, right? And so it's just understanding your patterning so that you can find comfort in changing. And at first it will be uncomfortable, okay? It's like, there's nothing that you're going to heal where one day you're going to wake up and just be totally comfortable with that change. Like, it's getting comfortable with the discomfort and then letting that discomfort be the fuel that allows you to continue changing things for the better in your own life, right? So on the bottom, we have star power. When the spotlight finds you, respond with unwavering authenticity. Let your true self shine. Chase the glow. It was 21:21 on the clock. Yeah, so it's time for you to chase this glow. It's time for you to come into this authenticity. We have veiled paths that flipped out. We have a hidden path in the secret garden offers a shortcut. Will you choose bravery or safety? Choose the path less traveled. And that's what I was saying earlier too. I feel like this is absolutely something that is very much societal beliefs. It's something that everybody's done. This is something that everybody has chosen. And so don't beat yourself up, right? This is part of the spiritual journey, is having to face a lot of societal constructs that have left us in lack and poverty without us even realizing it. It's just something that we see other people do. We see our parents do. We see our friends do. We see our siblings do. We see our schoolmates do. We see our coworkers do. We see everybody. And we're like parrots growing up. We learn from our surroundings, right? We mimic our surroundings. It takes conscious awareness for us to walk away from that. And that's what's so brave about consciousness in this life. Because you're walking away from being plugged in. North Node, destined to release. Yeah, this is really powerful. This message is intense. This is something you're destined to release, because there's something unique about the way that you choose to express yourself in how you put yourself out to society. There's something unique about that. And you being authentic to yourself gives others the permission to be authentic to themselves. And there are going to be some times when it rubs raw against people, because authenticity creates polarity, but that's okay. Teacher, ability to communicate knowledge, experience, skill, or wisdom. Shadow is manipulating or abusing students, teaching negative traits and destructive skills. And I feel like this is very telling. It's not that you're in the shadow part of this. It's just saying that this is very telling, because this could have been something that you learned from school. Okay, and I said that earlier. I was getting that energy as well. This could be something that came from classmates, your teachers. Didn't I say earlier, from growing up and going to a school that was wearing uniforms as well? Sometimes it's hard to break free of those beliefs, right? It's like, this is just the way things are. No, it's just that you've been conditioned to believe that illusion. We have Air Dragon, helps you rise above earthly matters. Communicate honestly, brings inspiration and hope, see life from a higher perspective. So we're trying to rise above the earthly matters. And our appearance is absolutely an earthly matter, right? Because it's this physical realm. It's how we're physically seen by others and how we physically see ourselves. So let's check out these ones first. Wake up call. Ambition fuels the search for rarity, yet reality may temper expectations, balancing dreams and practicality. I see we have this Pegasus unicorn here. It's time for you to stand out, right? Even though it's like, well, I want to be practical, but you still have to be yourself, right? It's okay to be practical. It's okay to start small. Like if one day you just choose not to wear eyeliner, like start there, or you choose to wear a different type of color, or you choose to wear that scarf that you've been dying to wear, but it's just been hanging up in your closet because you don't want people to judge you for it. It's just starting small, right? Poker face. Mask emotion. Master deception. Control the table. Win the game. Stay composed and hide your tells. And this is just about being confident. Be yourself as you go out. There's no reason to fear when you go out. It's just about being true to yourself when you go out. It's knowing that this is who I am and stay in that. Right? That's all that matters, is you being true to yourself, not you being true to the world. Because that's exhausting. Sneaky snake. Going behind your back. Deceitful and swindler. Yeah, so there's someone here, I feel like, or a group of people who were just trying to get you to believe what they believed, and it's not that they did it consciously. In fact, I feel like most of this was very subconscious and subliminal messaging and conditioning. And so it's just about realizing that you have so much more to offer than just how you look. And we have alone. You feel like you were alone in this situation all by yourself, but it won't be like this for forever. And I really actually love that this card came out, not because of you being alone, but because it confirms exactly what I was saying. Your vibe attracts your tribe. And I feel like your tribe's been trying to get to you, but because of this situation and not healing this part of yourself, you haven't been able to connect with your tribe because you haven't been really truly attuned to your internal vibration, your soul vibe, okay? So we're going to take a look at your card here. I'm going to read this from the book for you. We have, Mermaid of Lemuria, joy, and you may have ties to Lemuria as well. So let me find that in the book. Almost opened up right to it. Yeah. Here we go. Says, drop the worry habit. Embrace lightheartedness. Lemuria was a light-centered civilization where the peaceful inhabitants maintained an exceptionally pure connection to the divine. Lemurian knowledge was embedded within crystals, stones, plants, and the ocean. Mer people were an extension of the water element, vibrating to a note of pure joy. Mermaids carried the fluidity of the divine feminine and were expert at balancing energy through play, relaxation, dance, creative movement, and sound healing. They freely express their carefree love of life. And we're talking about appearance is an expression. Look who splashed into your life today. With a playful flick of her shimmering tail, this mermaid showers you with droplets of Lemurian light. She says, I see how much time and energy you spend worrying about the future. You're trying to control and plan everything out of fear. And I said that earlier. There's this fear. It's like it's controlling everything that you do. Oh my gosh, this is great. This approach is outworn and it dulls your radiance. I cannot make this stuff up. This is a clear message. I am here to clear you of rigid, anxious patterns that sap your life force and cloud your spiritual vision. When was the last time you played and had fun? Leave work for now and let your hair down. Trust that it's safe to drop your routines for a while. Lighten up and dance with the flow of life. Joy is your birthright and opens up creative solutions. Connecting to simple joys is the answer to any life challenge you may be handling right now. This card heralds an energy shift. You've gotten Lemurian wisdom waiting in your cells, ready to be expressed. Let the mermaid melt away your hard edges and soften your heart and reattune your energy to sacred joy. You're about to dive deep into divine waters that have long been calling your name. Okay, and it says, practice Lemurian or mermaid meditation journeys. Sacred geometry is accelerating your spiritual development. Place pictures on your altar, wear jewelry, visualize symbols and meditation to activate Lemurian knowledge. Use crystal grids to amplify your Lemurian energy. Visit or move to the coast and express your feminine energy and sensuality. Your invocation is, I create pockets of joy every day. I swim with the tides of life. Yeah, so this is about you reconnecting to that joy and that essence within you. And I feel like you're very expressive as a child, but maybe you weren't allowed to use that expression freely, and that's why. But I do feel like as you unpack this and begin to ask yourself, why do I feel like I have to fit in? Or why do I feel like I have to present myself a certain way? And why do I feel that? Like once you get an answer, asking why again. And once you get an answer, asking why again. And keep going. Keep going until you've dug up every part of that situation so that you can let it go and be free of it and really truly express yourself, because that's exactly what your shadow self is trying to bring out. It's the urgent message so that you can reconnect with the divinity within. Okay, so if you feel like this is your message, leave a mer person down below and say, I choose to embrace joy by expressing myself through my outwardly appearance, knowing that that brings me closer home to my soul. And if it resonated with you, it means so much to me if you were to like, comment, and subscribe below. If you're interested in supporting the channel further, you'll find all those links in the description box in order to do so. You can email me for a personal reading. You can follow me on over to my podcast on Spotify at Scatterlove Radio. You can even join as a member, and I would love to see you on memberships, but if not, thank you so much for your continued support here. I do want to give a shout out to your shadow self. I want to give a shout out to your angels, your messengers, your spirit guides, source, and my spirit guides for coming through to give us this incredible message. And until next time, pile number 2, stay human. Bye. Hello, my fellow human. If you were drawn to this beautiful piece of red jasper, or if you were drawn to this card during the shuffle, then this is going to be your urgent message from your shadow self. First, I do want to say thank you to anyone that continues to be a supportive part of this journey, this channel, this ever-growing tribe. I'm truly honored to be sharing this time and space with you. And for those that are new here, welcome. This is a reminder that we're all here spiritual beings having this human experience, and we are just that, human, right? And it's okay for us to show up as human. If this happens to resonate with you, it means so much to me if you're to like, comment, and subscribe below. With that, though, let's go ahead and hop to it and find out what are your shadow self's urgent message for you. So, shadow self of pile number 3, what is the urgent message that you have for pile number 3 today? Shadow self of pile number 3, what is the urgent message you have for them today? Shadow self of pile number 3, what is the urgent message you have for them today? Okay, so we've got the first house, Taurus energy, and we have Neptune. This is interesting. It feels like your worth is tied to how you view your body. So this is interesting. It's not the 6th house, but I'm getting body image with this combination here. So how you view your body is something that's creating a lot of tension. It's creating a lot of physical feelings and emotions as well. And seeing this illusion, there's a lot of guilt and shame with how you look out to society, right? Especially with the first house in Neptune, it's something that you're not seeing just how attractive you are. You're not seeing how beautiful and how handsome and how good looking you are. It's because you're seeing all of what you have labeled as flaws. And it's creating this dissonance within your soul, and your shadow self is saying it's time for us to face this. It's time for us to understand that we have something so much deeper than this. And when you accept this part of me, when you allow me to merge with you, we're going to go to higher heights. And it's going to feel a lot better here. Right? But this is a huge vulnerability for you. To accept yourself as you look in this moment, it's like deeply scary. And it's like saying that, oh, like all my life I was wrong about myself, but it was just all your life you believed an illusion. It's not that you were wrong. It's not that you were even right. It's just that you played into an illusion. That's like saying if your nose is too big or too small, your eyes are too far apart or too close together, they're not the right color, your hair's not the right length or the right shape or the right, or the right color. You aren't the right color. You aren't the right height. You're not the right size. It's whatever it is. It's something that's an appearance wise that you're saying is not right. Like there's some sort of flaw here, and your shadow self is trying to bring this to your attention to heal This is something that holds a lot of emotions to it as well. Okay, this is something that is affecting your overall immune system too, and you might not be realizing that, right? Sometimes it's difficult to see that how we treat ourselves actually affects the way that we feel on a day-to-day basis. And there's a lot of resistance to change here. And possessive ideas of holding on to what society tells you is right. Like maybe you're looking at magazines or you're looking at people online and you're seeing how they look and you're like, but I don't look anything like them. Or you're never seeing anybody that looks like you, and that's making you feel very lonely and disconnected. And especially with Taurus energy here, we have beauty, right? And beauty is in the eye of the beholder, but if you ever want someone to think that you are attractive and you don't think that you yourself are attractive, it's kind of weird to ask someone else to do something for you that you don't do for yourself, right? Like it's just kind of odd. You wouldn't want someone to do that for you. And so what's coming out right here is this feeling of disconnect, and it's really playing at your self-worth. It's really playing at even your stability in your day-to-day life, right? And we have the body. This is having to do with the body. It's how you identify with your body and how that connects with everyone else. Like how you identify with your body is how you connect with everyone else, and it keeps you from building meaningful relationships because you're not able to open up and be your true self because you're constantly worrying about how they're viewing you, how they're seeing you, how they're taking you in. So the shadow self is bringing this to life. This is the urgent message it has for you. It's like facing this part of ourselves will bring a lot of clarity, and I feel like a lot of spiritual ascension too with Neptune being here. Plus it will allow you to open up to a deeper part of your intuitive self, okay? Well, let's get some cards out though and see what else is gonna come through. Yeah, this is something that's feeling like a part of your self-sabotage. Like maybe you've tried to change a part of yourself, or you have plans to get, work done or surgery done or something like that. And it's not that that's right or wrong, it's like you got to do what you got to do. But what they're saying is like, it's this feeling of when I get this work done, or when I lose this weight, or when I look a certain way, then I'll be happy. And your shadow self is pointing out that no, because what we've always done is that once you do this, there will be the next thing that we have to change, the next thing that we have to alter, the next thing that we have to feel bad about. Right? And so that's what your shadow self is trying to point out here. It's like if we can heal this at the root level, then we'll feel a lot better and more whole and connected to ourselves. So what else would you like to say in regards to this urgent message? Shadow self of pile 3. Thank you. What else would you like to say in regards to this message? Shadow self of pile number 3. Thank you. What else would you like to come out? Thank you. And it feels like a challenge. It's just like, well, I've always thought of myself in this way, and you're asking me to change. But the only way for us to change is to understand ourselves at a base level. Like if you're just saying, like, I'm not going to tell you tomorrow you have to wake up and love yourself unconditionally and be okay with the way that you look. No, at first we have to start asking ourselves, like, why do I believe this? Like, why do I feel this way about myself? And where does that come from? And understanding that deeper, right? Yeah, we have the Empress on the bottom. Yeah, you do not see how beautiful you are. And your shadow self is trying to help you reconnect with this part of yourself. And we have to understand, sometimes we give our shadow self such a bad rep, but it's actually here helping us navigate this realm in such a profound way. It's giving us the literal roadmap to our healing, but sometimes we don't want to listen to it. So we have the Empress on the bottom, and she's the embodiment of beauty, right? The mother, the nurturer. She's here taking care. She's unbothered by everyone else because she knows who she is, and she's very grounded in that feeling. Also, we have Taurus and Libra energy here. We have Venus energy as well. So you see, it's like finding connection with that internal beauty. But with the Queen of Cups in the reverse on the bottom, we see how unkind emotionally you've been to yourself, right? And this is the urgent message of your shadow. It's like, I don't want to rock this boat. This is what I've done my whole life. It's just something I'm comfortable doing. It's easier to beat myself up and say that everyone else is more beautiful or more handsome or more good looking than I am. It's like, I'll never beat up to standards. But it's like, what makes you up to standards except for what society has said? And society is still just it's a man-made idea, right? And so you're literally in this place of saying that someone else can tell me how I should feel about myself because that's the way it's always been. But what about how you get to feel about yourself? What do you feel like if you were your best friend, pile 3, and your best friend came to you with exactly how you feel about yourself, and your best friend told you all this, like, I don't think that I'm beautiful, I don't think that I'm handsome, I don't think that I'm good looking, like, and it was a really serious thing, like, emotionally, they're feeling scarred, they're feeling broken down, they're feeling completely depressed. I mean, you wouldn't make fun of them, would you? You'd be like, what are you talking about? You're such a good looking person and you have such a great heart and you're such a phenomenal cook and you have so much to offer. You would tell them these nice things to make them feel better, right? But yet you're not being your own best friend here. And that's what your shadow self is saying, is like, if you're not your own best friend, you're never going to lift yourself up, but you want everyone else to validate that outside of you. Especially with house 1, it's how we appear to others. It's like you want other people to tell you you're pretty. You want other people to tell you you're handsome. You want to find a love of your life that's going to make you feel beautiful and handsome every day. But if you can't do that for yourself, how can you ever ask someone else to do that? And so we have to start at home. And that's starting with how we view ourselves. And this is the message of your shadow coming through. Yeah, we have the 6 of Wands in the reverse. Wow. The Page of Swords in the reverse, and the Hermit. This is really telling. And the Hermit, I love that the Hermit came out on your reading, because the Hermit is talking about doing that deep internal work, that deep shadow work, right? The only way to integrate those lessons are to face the parts of ourselves that we don't want to face. And your emotional ego has gotten greedy with not wanting to deal with this. This is like, with the Page of Swords in the reverse, this is like a refusal to face reality. I'm refusing to face reality. I'm refusing to see myself in any other way than what I've always seen myself. And that's what your emotional ego, it takes action, right? You get dressed up and you're like, oh, I'm finally getting dressed up and I want to feel good about myself. But the minute you get dressed up and you look in front of the mirror, your ego takes that action and makes you feel bad about yourself. And it's been really difficult for you to come into this place of self-reflection, because this is something that is very deep. This is something that has been with you since you were young. Okay? And it's hard. The older the wound, the older the trauma, the harder it is to eradicate that from our lives. It's like there's this unsure feeling of not feeling confident too. It's like I'm unsure. Like they say, oh, confidence is faking it until you make it. And some kinds, yes, it is faking it until you make it. But here we see here, that's not something that's going to really work for you, because you're only going to find your true confidence when you find out what it is that's triggering you so harshly from the past. What is that? Why do I feel this way? Where did that come from? When did I start feeling this way? And when you say maybe someone made fun of you when you were a child and they called you a certain name or something, and you can say, well, why did I feel that way? And how do I validate that part of myself? And how do I make myself, know that how I felt when that happened, it was valid. But that's not how I feel now, and that illusion is now gone, because it's not the truth of my reality, right? Especially with the Empress coming out on your reading, we see here that you're absolutely gorgeous, you're absolutely stunning, but you don't see it that way. You are having a hard time doing this. This is like body dysmorphia at its finest. This is a very substantial disconnect from you seeing yourself from the way that reality sees you, from the way that other people actually see you. And I feel like no one actually, on a day-to-day basis, I don't feel like people are putting you down for the way that you look. This is a very, very, very self-inflicted wound here with the Knight of Swords in the reverse here. This is something that's been self-inflicted along the way, even though it may have originally come from someone outside of you. Which, it does feel like this could have come from someone that was close to you at one point in time, but with the Hermit here, and he's shining his lantern on this. It's like time for you to let go of the fear of facing the reality that maybe this is an identity that you're holding on to that actually doesn't serve a purpose in your life any longer. Right? And sometimes that's really hard. Sometimes that's really hard to face, because it's like, I identified with being ugly for so long, and you're telling me like now I'm this beautiful swan. Like, I don't feel that way. It's not about feeling that way. It's about understanding where the original thought pattern came from and unraveling it from there. This is a big ball of yarn that has you all wound up and stuck in an old cycle. And here with the Hermit and the Empress, we see we need to change our perspective of self so that we can finally blossom and protect ourselves the way that we need to be protected. But the only way to do that is to regain balance and to bring this situation to a close. It may not be complete, right? But with practice and persistence, you will be able to walk away from this belief of self. You will be able to let it go and understand that this was something that I'd held for so long and held on to so tightly, that I identified with so greatly, that it affected every part of myself. So when we see the Taurus energy here in the center of your dice reading, we know this is going to be something that's stubborn, and it's going to come out in all kinds of ways. And the more that you face it and the more that you heal it, the more it's going to want to hold on, and the louder it's going to get, and the more it's going to throw a fit, and the more it's going to try and bring you back down to that comfort level of beating yourself up. And that's why this is something your shadow self is saying. The urgency of this is, it's like this is facing yourself so that you can become vigilant in taking care of yourself on a new level. And nurturing yourself. This is something about nurturing yourself very deeply. It's like there's a lot of anger here too, and a lot of resentment. But definitely feeling unsure and not realizing that it's your own thoughts that are keeping you in this loop, because it feels so much from the outside world. But that's exactly what your emotional ego wants you to think, that it's from the outside world, because it's saying, well, if pile 3 is blaming everyone else, then it's not looking at me, and that's exactly what I want, so that I can continue my reign in pile 3's life. And that's, the emotional ego is a really difficult character to face, because it feels so real to us, and it's become a reality for us for so long. And it's like, how do I let this go and let the spirit take over? Well, your spirit loves you no matter what. Right? Your spirit thinks you are the most beautiful person to ever live, and that's just a reality. And Source created you, and if you're created by Source and you're saying, oh, Source, you really messed up with me, Source doesn't mess up. Like, that's just not at all how that works, right? And it's like hard for us sometimes to see it that way. You know, it's hard for us to be like, wow, like, it means that I'm perfect as I am and I'm enough as I am, but that's sometimes so hard for us to embrace and embody, because we're so busy judging ourselves so harshly. And this is very much showing here that you're being your own worst enemy in this way, and that's what your this is why it's so urgent. Your shadow self is saying, like, this is actually playing into so many different aspects and areas of your life, that when you begin to face this, you may begin to see where this is making you feel like, I can't believe in myself, or I'm not worthy of success, or I'm not worthy of having a good time, or if I'm not worthy of love or friends or whatever. You might actually begin to see this unravel in so many other areas of your life. It's just this one viewpoint of self that's taking precedence. We have Capricorn. It's interesting that Capricorn would come out on the bottom, because when Capricorns are in their shadow energy, they truly are the Debbie Downers of the zodiac. They're very pessimistic when they're in their shadow, right? We all have our shadow attributes, okay? Like Pisces, I'm a Pisces. I always come back to myself. Pisces, we're the depressive crew that's we want a pity party, okay? Like that's a Pisces through and through. All right, but this Capricorn energy coming out on the bottom is like, this is something that's going to take time. And here we have, it's ambition, your realism, but methodical steps. It's going to take one foot in front of the other for you to face this part of yourself and heal your heart and heal your viewpoint on yourself and your vision of yourself. This is a very difficult reading, because it's like you can't see yourself for who you really are. Even if you've had people call you handsome or beautiful in the past, it's like you are always like, oh, thanks, but then you go right away into berating yourself about how, you know, oh, my hair, it's a mess today. Or you might be that person too when someone gives you a compliment like, wow, you look so nice today, and you're like, oh, really? I just threw this on, or I wasn't even trying. Like, and it's harsh too, because with the people who are really trying to compliment you, it's like, all, you know, it's not like they're looking for anything, but it just feels like you're just trying to be like, oh, don't compliment me. And in a way, that's exactly what you're saying, because it's so difficult to receive a compliment. And so you're thinking, oh, if I downplay it, then, you know, it makes me feel better because it's putting me right back in this rough energy here. Okay, you could have first house in Gemini, Libra, Aquarius. You could have your 9th house in Virgo, your 3rd house in Taurus, and you could even have Neptune in Taurus. Okay. And the 6th house in Pisces. That's very specific, okay? And if that doesn't resonate with you, that's all right. Look, we have the Saboteur on the bottom here. Highlight your fear of self-empowerment and the changes it would bring to your life as a light attribute. The Shadow is induces self-destructive behavior or the desire to undermine others. And that's what I was saying. Like, if someone gives you a compliment, that's that undermining, right? It's not that you're doing it intentionally, but it's just because of such difficulty to receive a compliment. And that's self-destructive behavior, right? That's being a sabotage in your life. That's being a saboteur for yourself. And so when you come into this light side of it, the light attribute, you begin to empower yourself and let that bring changes and fly away from whatever it is that's holding you down. And it's difficult, right? This is a difficult message, and I can appreciate that. Absolutely. Remember, you're not at fault here. There's no fault to be had, especially when we're talking about shadow self. It's just about understanding. We need to move shadow work away from finding fault to finding understanding, because that's all shadow work is. It's about understanding ourselves. Wow, you got a whole grip of them. We're going to put these back. We're going to try that again. Okay, but that's what, when we find out about ourselves and we let ourselves understand why we do the things we do, or what this matters, or what this means in our lives, and we take away the blame, because there's never any blame. You're not to blame for talking to yourself this way. It's just finding out where that pattern stems from, right? No one else is really to blame for you talking to yourself this way, because honestly, what happened is something hurt you when you were young, and your emotional ego created this identity, and that's how it just came to be. It just was. And it was in reaction to something that had happened externally to you as a way to protect oneself, not realizing, and the ego never realizes that it's actually hurting us, right? It developed that as a way to keep us protected, and it may have worked for a little while, but as we grew older, it then suddenly is putting us in the situation of continuing to poke at us, to prod at us, to make us feel less than, to make us feel unworthy. And the emotional ego has no idea that it's hurting you. It's not conscious, right? That's not conscious of it. It's a pattern that's living over and over again. We have the Golden Atlantean Dragon. Helps you remember the wisdom of Golden Atlantis. Awaken, bring back your knowledge, your gifts and talents, and reclaim your mastery. So you may absolutely have ties with Atlantis as well, and that's just bringing you back to that time of peace and harmony and balance. A time when the world was a utopia. Okay, so we're going to get some shadow aspects out here and find out what is the shadow part of this coming through here. Shadow self of pile 3. Okay, I guess you're going to get 3. No one else got 3, but we're just going to go with it. So, ending. You're pretending that it's not ending, but it's time to let go and make a fresh start. And I feel like this is, again, these readings should never be telling you something new. It should always be confirming something that you're feeling, that you're being intuitively guided to, or like a gut feeling that you've had. You know, that's really what tarot is. It's about helping you heal based on something that you're intuitively feeling, right? And I feel like sometimes we put so much pressure into it and so much into it that, yeah, it's tempting taste coming out. We're like trying to give our power away to tarot readers and letting them tell us what we need to do. But they should only ever be confirming your intuition. Okay, we have tempting taste. Indulgence opens at a door. Moderation keeps it right. Indulge with care and enjoy forever. So it's like, this is very tempting for you to beat yourself up in this way. Okay, and they're saying that, you know, not even moderation with beating yourself up. It's just being humble. Like, it's okay to humble yourself, not to berate yourself, right? Being humble is what keeps you in moderation. This is like, it's okay to think of yourself as a gorgeous, glorious person, while also knowing that I'm humble and I accept that I do have flaws and I do have things that are, you know, unkempt, and that I am human, right? We have vacation. A pause in the routine can unveil paths to prosperity and hidden pitfalls. Watch the signs. Pause, perceive, and proceed. So stop for a moment and sit in the stillness and receive the answers to your healing here coming through. My nose keeps going like crazy right now. It keeps itching. This is something that's definitely really been bothering you for a long time, and you're wondering why. Maybe this has been zapping your energy. It's been making you feel unsteady. It's been making you feel like you don't have the energy to do what you want to do, to go pursue your dreams. And facing this will give you that courage and that energy, okay? Yeah, we have house 4, cultural and family roots, home, peace, and comfort. And didn't I say at one point this could be because of culture, right? We see culture playing a huge role in today's reading, like across the board. And as always, if you've watched all 3 readings, leave a purple heart down below. I know what that means. That is always reserved for those of you that watch all 3 readings, and I truly do appreciate you. Know that it is never required for you to spend that time with me, but this could definitely be something that's coming from your home. It's like maybe you were a little chunky and your whole family was skinny and they made fun of you, or they made you feel like out of place because you were chunky. Or maybe they didn't, and it just felt like they were ostracizing you because you were the only one that was different. You know, it's like you have to always play both roles, right? You have to say, this is my reality of what I saw, but what if it wasn't actually how I saw it, so that you can open up to the bigger picture. And sometimes that's really scary because we're so stuck on seeing it from our own viewpoint that sometimes it's hard to see it from another's viewpoint. And that's what shadow work brings us to, and is so valid on our journey, because it allows us to open up to the potential that maybe it wasn't exactly as I saw it, right? Maybe there was something else at play here. And so when you see that, maybe it might be like, wow, I put a lot of pressure on myself when I was a young child. Then we have the Emerald Dragon, which brings in healing and cosmic abundance. Good fortune is coming. Let your thoughts support your divine perfection and align with your fifth dimensional blueprints. This is helping you to heal a huge part of your life. And your shadow is urgent because it's something that's weighing so heavily on your consciousness, okay? So let's see. We've got child divine, innocent, purity, and redemption suggests a special connection with the divine. The shadow is the inability to defend oneself against negative forces. Okay, so this does confirm that there's a potential where people were making fun of you at one point, and it could absolutely be family. Yeah, for some of you, for others of you, that might not be the case, but I do feel like that is a big play here, that there's someone that was making fun of you, and then suddenly, and that's why they want you to look at it from both sides, okay? If someone was making fun of you, and maybe that person made fun of you so bad that became the projection from you that everyone was making fun of you. You see, and that's why it's so important to play both sides and understand it at a deeper level. Like, okay, well, when that person made fun of me, why did I feel the way that I felt? And what was I seeing? What was going on around me? Like, really feel back into it and remind yourself as you do this that you're safe, right? We're digging into very sensitive topics. We're digging into very sensitive situations, but you are safe. You're not experiencing that in the here and now moment any longer. You are safe, and it's okay for this to come out, okay? So let's see what we've got. Facing it. You know something isn't right. Don't be afraid to find out the truth. It will set you free. Very powerful message coming through about the shadow aspect. Exposed. Fragile heart, too open, in danger of heartbreak. Yeah, and this is interesting. This came out in another reading, but it's like this fear of, if I take this off, if I let myself be seen, I'm going to be in danger of getting heartbreak all the time. Like, people are going to make fun of me, or people are going to put me down all the time. And I don't want that. That's why I don't want to be exposed. It's hard for me to face it, because that means I have to expose a part of myself that has been locked away for a long time. We have adrift, not willing to settle down or be responsible, time to commit and put down roots. And so this is about really, really committing to that part of your journey. All right. Wow, this is incredible. We have contours of dream. Look at this image. This is the last card before we get to your oracle card, and it's talking about the body. Shape your dreams with the clay of your actions. Today's efforts sculpt tomorrow's achievements. Mold your destiny with each choice. But what I'm seeing here is this image is so telling. And it's okay for you to be in this state and see yourself as this, right? And I'm not saying like be reasonable, right? Like, don't be like, oh, I'm a 6 foot tall person and I want to be 100 pounds. Like, that's not reasonable. That's not even sustainable, right? Like, within reason. But it's absolutely something that you can achieve in life. And this is so telling me. This is why I said the first thing that came out was the body. And we have the last card coming out with the image of a child looking in the mirror and being reflected back, an image of a body they desire, a goal that they have in mind, a dream that they want to accomplish. Right? So here we have, it's like you're seeing yourself from a different place. You're not seeing the truth of who you are. And this is an illusion, right? Even though you see the dream that you want, this is still showing and pointing at an illusion coming back. Okay, so it's important for you to face the reality of where you're at, and maybe understand that you've been putting yourself down without just cause for so long, just because of something that happened in your childhood that became a pattern. Okay, and no, there's nothing wrong with that. I don't want you to beat yourself up. This is not me saying shame on you or anything like that. It's not that at all. It's just, that's life. That's what it is to have a shadow side in this human realm, is we have all kinds of things coming to us from outside of us, and it's creating all kinds of emotions and feelings within us, and we act accordingly. And a lot of times we act in a way that is best suited for us at the time, because we don't know of any other way to show up. And that's where the shadow attributes come from. That's where our shadow self comes from. And knowing that that's okay. So let's take a look at your oracle card. I'm going to read this from the book. We have Merlin, cosmic knowledge. And then we have the Atlantean dragon on the bottom with the knowledge as well. So you're trying to open up to a deeper knowing of yourself. And didn't I say with the dice too, is like once you finally face this and you begin to heal this part of yourself, you're going to open up to even deeper psychic gifts that you have, or abilities that you have within you. It says magic is coming. Your answers written in the stars. Okay, wow, hold on. This is not going to work like that. It says Merlin represents the magician, the wizard, the sage, and the wise one archetype, and features in both Arthurian legend and medieval Welsh poetry. His specialty is divine alchemy, the transformation of heavy physical matter energies into higher vibrational energies. So the physical matter, we're trying to transform our physical views of ourselves into something that's more loving and light, okay? Merlin uses the spiritual tools of a purple energy cloak and the rainbow chakra wand to bring forward universal knowledge. He's a guardian of Avalon and the multi-dimensional realm, connected mainly with sacred sites in Glastonbury, England. Drop everything you're wrestling with. Leave the mind struggles. Stop trying to figure it all out. Don't rely solely on 3D logic. You need to look beyond the physical and open your energy to the mystical forces, so physical, that govern our universe. I cannot with my nose right now. It's just like, you know this. It's like crazy. And I feel like this is confirming something that you've been wondering for a long time. This is where your answer for healing lies, beyond the veil, in the constellations and transits of the planet, deep inside the mysteries of the cosmos. You're now harnessing ancient wisdom from the Avalon mystery schools of Merlin. He taught metaphysical subjects such as alchemy, sacred geometry, astrology, divining, and energy healing. There was a vast cosmic library containing esoteric texts by divine scholars. Let Merlin help you remember your magical powers. Whatever you're seeking right now, your inner magician knows how to find it. Meditate and ask your third eye chakra to reveal what you need to know. You can visualize Merlin's rainbow light streaming from your chakras to heal yourself, a relationship, or a karmic issue. You're a wise soul with knowledge from other worlds. Trust the powers conferred by the purple cloak and crystal wand given to you many moons ago by the supreme sorcerer Merlin. This is clearing the energy with the person, place, situation to experience immediate relief and resolution. And that's exactly what we were talking about. Wow, this is so strong. Your life purpose involves using, teaching astrology, energy healing, chakra balancing, or magic. It says study vortex healing, a holistic system of energetic healing with the Merlin lineage. And you can always visit Glastonbury to reconnect with the sacred sites of Avalon. The invocation here is, I call upon my deep magical powers. The universe is working with me in mysterious and miraculous ways. So you're trying to open up to this wisdom, this knowledge that's been trying to come through, but it's being blocked because it's like when you don't see yourself as deserving of simple things like love or being seen as a beautiful person, it's hard for you to open up to the deeper truths of your cosmic knowledge that's trying to manifest here. So again, this is a part of your dream, and this is a part of creating the life that you desire. But first we have to connect deeply with that. And I just now noticed that there's all the zodiac symbols on his hood, and that's powerful, right? It's like reconnecting with the stars and the astrology. I'd never noticed that before. So when you do this, it would be wise to check out where your sixth house is. And I know we said sixth house. I think I said sixth house in Pisces. But check out where your sixth house is. Check out where your fourth house is, and understand those aspects of yourself a little bit deeper. Also where the second house is, and look at the shadow aspects of those houses as well, so that you can kind of understand how to better come toward yourself in a state of love. But really doing the shadow work here, really unpacking that, is going to help you free yourself from the burden of holding this energy and treating yourself like you don't deserve better. Because I'm going to tell you, Pile 3, you deserve so much better, and you are an incredible energy and an incredible person. And with as beautiful of as an energy that you have, I know, without a doubt in my heart, I know that you are physically a beautiful person as well. It's not about how we outwardly look. It's about the light that shines within us that makes us beautiful. And to connect with your energy is such an honor. And I want you to remember that. Okay? I want you to remember that because you're beautiful light, that makes you a beautiful person. So this is what I see for you here. You felt like this was your message. Leave the little egg emoji down below and say, I choose to be reborn through finding beauty within myself and knowing that I am a pure light and pure soul here to express something beautiful. And if you felt like this resonated with you, it means so much to me if you were to like, comment, and subscribe below. If you are interested in supporting the channel further, you'll find all those links in the description box in order to do so. You can email me for a personal reading. You can follow me on over to my podcast on Spotify at Scatter Love Radio. You can even join as a member, and I would love to see you on memberships. But if not, thank you so much for your continued support here. I want to give a shout out to your shadow self, to your guides, your spirit messengers, your angel source, and my spirit guides for coming together to give us this message. Here's a gigantic energetic hug. I love you so much, Pile 3. You were so supported and held on this journey. With that being said, though, I'm going to go ahead and get on out of here. And until next time, Pile 3, stay human. Bye.